We're back to discuss Chi-Raq, and if you saw our review, we were mixed on the movie. Mostly just confused. There's some things in it that are weird. The just complete ridiculousness of some of the scenes. I think that's the part that, you would talk about if you're talking about spoilers and that sort of thing. I knew Samuel L. Jackson was going to be the narrator.
I didn't know any of that.
I knew that it was going to be partially in rhyme because it's based on this ancient.
Right. That surprised me, so I thought you were avoiding this as a spoiler. But
I just knew about it because I had read up on the movie beforehand. I wanted to know a little bit about it because I really didn't want to be caught in a situation where I was like talking smack about an adaptation of an ancient play that everybody knows, which is kind of what this is. It's, even the thing about the women, like, that is part of that story.
Right.
It's this ancient story or whatever. I just, I had a hard time with it. I knew who was supposed to be the protagonist. Really didn't, connect with the protagonist. She gave a good performance, and it was well done. I just never really felt like I was tapped in and tuned in. And I guess having the narration and having people, talking, breaking the fourth wall and just talking to you sort of, like you said, it kind of feels like a play more than anything else.
Yeah.
There was that scene at the end where they're all in the gym, signing the document or whatever, and they're all facing a direction where no one is. Right. Everybody's standing, but that's where the camera is. And they pan back, and it's just all these people standing and, staring into space.
But yeah, even the rhyming and all of it, it just had that sort of a vibe to it where it was a lot like a play. And I was actually happy to see that, and it's unusual that there's that much rhyming in the dialogue. But I thought it was kind of a nice touch and well done, and Spike Lee knows how to do it. But he's done, and it's so different than other movies of his too that I like, that I was thinking about. Though there are sort of traces of those movies in there, like how Samuel L. Jackson, I had no idea about anything but the title going into this movie. And then I see that Samuel L. Jackson is the narrator, and it's do the right thing, and it's pretty cool.
Well, I think you didn't pick up on what Chi-Raq meant until it was explained, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I caught it in the opening credits when they were basically going through it, but yeah, I figured it.
Yeah. I just mean before the movie started.
Yeah, no, not before the movie started, but into about 5 minutes of the movie, it's oh, okay, yeah, right, okay. Yeah, I think it was interesting that they had a lot of the rhyming and the references are all up to date. So I'm like, how long does it take to write something like this? I'm wondering, and is that why a lot of it didn't hit the cutting room floors? Because it was written in a fury that you didn't have time to really go through it and say what was good and what was bad about it, as opposed to getting it out.
Yeah. Well, and I think John has a point too with wanting to make sure that everybody that sees the movie gets the message of the movie. Even if you're just halfway paying attention, even if you're just waiting for the next Samuel L. Jackson scene,
if you like one character,
you will
over that
get the point of the movie.
I think they get the point of the movie about, John Cusack is when you get the real hits and the points of the movie, where all the political things that Spike Lee wants to say, he puts through John Cusack's mouth.
Yeah, and that's why I felt like that was a very climactic moment of the movie. But instead, the real climax is to find out that Chi-Raq is the one that shot Patty, which becomes kind of anticlimactic by that point. Because by the time they get around to it, it's well, of course he did, and what does it matter at this point? What difference does it make?
And am I supposed to connect to him as a character? I don't feel strong.
Or do I empathize more with the mother now than I did before? Oh no, her daughter's still dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny too. There's a little unintended humor, but when we first see John Cusack in this movie, he's kind of in the background, and he has a way of sticking out, and it's just funny where it's like, oh, okay, Spike Lee is doing a movie in Chicago, so somewhere in the background John Cusack has to be there. It's like, I'm sure he's a character and he's going to develop, but
I was also really, really happy, and
people just show up in this movie, and
you
you're
have
like,
to
oh, they're
forgive
in
me,
it too.
I don't know the actor's name, but the guy that was like the mayor in The Wire shows up, and they give him like his longest yet, she,
Yeah.
which was like his catchphrase on The Wire.
Yeah, they did a little
Awesome.
Demolition Man reference with Wesley Snipes' haircut too. Like, there's a lot of little things.
That's a good point.
Samuel L. Jackson walks up and does like the Patton shot in front of the big flag.
Yeah.
And there's like a bunch of little just things like that peppered in there for cinephiles. But
I kind of expected him to sell me on a credit card or a bank at any moment when he shows up, though.
yeah, but anyway,
It was cool.
I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, before we started rolling camera, I thought Wesley Snipes was underused, but that's
Underutilized.
probably more to do with him than to do with what they wanted him to do. I'm
We can only guess.
sure they got as much of him as they could. I didn't actually know Angela Bassett was in the movie until like she showed up, and then I didn't realize she was going to be as big a part of it as she ended up being. And yeah, I did really expect it to be more about the younger generation and them sort of working through things, and it really wasn't so much. It like kind of, once they took over the armory or whatever, it was just like, well, no, now John Cusack's going to give a monologue, and now Sam Jackson's going to give another monologue, and now they're going to do this other ridiculous.
Well, if I have one major problem
Storming
with
of
the
the-
movie, it's that the problem is very real and the solution is total bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like a complete joke.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
the problem is very devastatingly real and current and topical, such that the movie does have a bit of a, I got to write this really quick. I got to make this now. People need to see this now and hear this now. But it illustrates the problem very well. But then the way that they solve the problem and that they make the happy Scooby-Doo ending at the end is bogus. Like, that wouldn't work at all except in a movie.
Yeah.
And so that's like, if I have one problem with it, it's that,
And that's what I was getting at in the review section. There's no call to action from this movie. And if there is, I didn't catch it.
yeah.
I don't know what it is. Is it women should do this so that we get gun violence off the streets? Is it like
I suppose it's that, it's going to be some ridiculous solution, but it's like they couldn't quite think of something that might actually work, so they just went with the thing from the original story that it's based on.
I mean, it's just that, and that's my problem with a lot of movies of this type, is that they want to talk about an issue, but they don't want to offer even a seed of a solution.
Unless the movie itself, like seeing the movie itself, changes minds.
Yeah.
I hope it does.
I hope it does. And I could see that as being really what the medicine is supposed to be. But as far as the solution in the movie to the problem in the movie,
Well, and not to like...
it only works because it's a movie.
Not to specify this, but just as an example, An Inconvenient Truth has things at the end that's like, here are things you can do to help.
Right.
Like, you can look at reducing the amount of electricity you use in your house. You can start using these compact fluorescent bulbs. Like, it tells you a couple of things that are like, these aren't huge. They're not going to end the entire problem, but there are things you can go do right now.
Yeah, and it's a
When
good
you leave
movie
the
to
movie.
bring up with this too, because like that movie, you're spending the whole movie, sitting there wanting to do something, wanting to make some sort of a change and going, yes, this sucks, what can I do? And it's like, well, that doesn't apply, because the solution in this movie is completely unrealistic, and it's not solved by the men whatsoever.
Right.
So it's like we're completely out of it.
Yeah.
And anyway,
Blue Ball solves everything. If you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.